The Honeybee and the Robber, a moving picture book by Eric Carle. For Bobby. In a hive inside an old hollow tree, there lived a honeybee. With her lived many, many other bees. One warm morning the air was filled with the sweet smell of flowers. The honeybee and her sisters flew out of the hive. The flowers opened their petals to welcome the honeybee. Inside each flower was a tiny droplet of nectar. With her long tongue, the honeybee sipped up a little nectar. The honeybee flew from flower to flower, gathering nectar. When she had gathered enough, she started to fly back to the hive. A hungry bird swooped down and tried to catch her, but the honeybee was much too quick. Then the honeybee was thirsty. She flew to a pond to drink some water. A hungry fish and a hungry frog both tried to catch her, but the honeybee was much too quick for them, too. Then a butterfly fluttered by. "Let's play," it said, and together the honeybee and the butterfly danced in the sky. "I must go now," said the honeybee. After a little while, "The baby bees must be fed, and honey must be stored." The hive in the old tree was a busy place. Bees were coming and going. At the entrance to the hive stood a guard bee. "You better be careful," said the guard bee to the honeybee. "They say there's a robber about." But the honeybee paid no attention. She crawled past the guard and into the hive. Inside were rows and rows of cells made of wax. Some were filled with honey, which the bees loved to eat. The bees had made the honey from nectar. "Where did you find all this nectar?" the other bees asked. "Watch me dancing and you'll see," replied the honeybee. And she danced round and around and around to show them. Then she saw the queen bee in another part of the hive. The queen was busy laying eggs, one egg in each cell. Each egg would hatch into a baby bee called a larva. Some of the other eggs had already hatched. One larva had just become a full-grown bee. The honeybee was watching the new bee as it crawled out of its cell. Suddenly she heard a terrible noise. "A robber!" cried the honeybee. It was a bear trying to break in and steal the honey. "Grrr!" he growled as he scratched at the tree. The guard bee hadn't seen him, but the honeybee had. Out flew the little honeybee and stung the big bear right on the nose. "Ouch!" yelled the bear. "And ouch! And ouch!" howled the bear again as more bees rushed out to sting the honey robber. And the bear ran away as fast as he could. The queen, the eggs, the larva, the bees, and the honey were safe again. In the hive inside the old hollow tree, all was quiet. It was time to rest. Tomorrow would be another busy day. Hi again. I love doing art, and I love doing art inspired by a book or another artist. I also love making pop-ups or art that moves. This page right here inspired me to come up with a project. And we will be making our own bees that kind of flit through the hive. So first we need to look at the hive and see that it's made up of many, many cells. And here is the shape right here. It's six-sided and it's called a hexagon. So we're going to start with making a hexagon to cut out. By the way, I have this cardboard from a popsicle box that I'll be using. And I'm going to make a six-sided shape. That's very good. I like that. And then I'm going to cut it out with 6 easy cuts with my trusty scissors. Boom, got it. Here it is, my hexagon. The next thing we do is get our cardstock. And I'm going to make my hive. I want to start with a yellow crayon. And I have this right here. Here we go. I'm going to hold it down really strong with one finger. And actually, it is a little tricky. So if you can get help, that would be fine too. I'm going to line it up, but you notice I'm leaving space between each cell. Here we go. Make an entire row. And my paper is vertical rather than horizontal, just for the moving part. It just works better. Before I finish the row, I want to show you what I'll do for my second row. I'm going to fit this in. See? Oh, I think I like it that way. Just like that. Leaving space. And that's how I'll do my second row. I'm also going to do one other thing I want to show you. I'm going to let it cut off the page. Just for fun, but also for composition and for filling the page with cells. Okay, here it is. I have my hive. The next thing I want to do is color them. I noticed that Eric Carle uses yellow and brown, maybe even some orange there. So I'm going to do the same. By the way, Eric Carle, he does not use crayons. Instead, he uses a technique with tissue paper and paint that he sprays on and he paints on. Well, look at this. So first I started with yellow, and then I see these lines that are kind of brownish, and I'm going to kind of color a little bit just over it, but I think it also looks orangey. Oh yeah, check it out. So I'm going to color the cells of my hive, and I'll be right back. Now for the fun part, which for me is the moving part of the artwork. I need to take my circle shape, whatever you have. I have tape. You might use the lid to a peanut butter jar or something like that. Lay it down towards the bottom, not all the way to the bottom, but towards there. And you're going to trace the bottom part of the circle with your pencil and the top part of your circle. There you go. You might see that I left a space here. There's a special reason for that. The next step is to cut that shape, the lines actually. And if you have scissors, you're going to be poking a hole and cutting around it. And let me show you how that works. Always make sure your fingers are nowhere near where the scissor point is going to poke through. So you'll just push, poke, and then you'll cut it. And some of you might have a blade handy, or a grown-up, or like I said, a mature child, which might be like 12 years old or something like that. You use a blade. You have to have something underneath their cardboard or newspaper, and you just cut. Oh, and make sure your blade is sharp. Oh yeah, mine's sharp. Couldn't tell for a second there. And there you have step 1 of our moving design. Great. The next thing you're going to do is take another piece of cardstock and you're going to cut, oh, what's that, like a 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 an inch. You're going to cut a strip. This is the moving part. It's going to go like this. But we need, hello, I need my fastener. Some people call these brads, by the way. I never called it a brad. I don't know what that is. So figure out where the center is. Now, you know the center's not here. Be approximate. I'd say it's somewhere around there. Close enough. Get that pair of scissors or get an adult to help you, little ones. Here we go. You're going to poke it. Yeah. And then you're going to actually do the same. About the center. If you're not sure, you can approximate. Fold it. But don't, if you fold it like this, don't press it, because we really want it to be stable. Here it is. Dun, 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 dun. The next step is very, very fun. We're going to go underneath. Here we go. And slide it up in both directions. There it is. And we're going to put the brad through from here, from this side. Hello, Brad. Okay, there it is. Then you know what to do with this. See how it moves from the back? Let's watch what happens here. Oh, now you see what's happening. The next step I like to do is I get my crayons again. Orange, and I had yellow, and now I'm like, where did I put that crayon? Here we go. Good enough. So I want this strip to match the background. I want it to blend in. I don't want it just to look like a big white thing. So I'm actually finishing. Do you see how I lined it up and I finished it? So now it's kind of camouflage. All we need now are a bunch of bees. Alright, now for the really fun part. I need to attach my bees. Now this is the one that's traveling. And to glue it on, I don't want to put glue all over. Otherwise it'll just stick to the page. So I just want to make sure I do it right in the center. Or another easy way to do it, which I should have started with, just to put some glue right here on my moving strip. And here it is. Put the bee on. Check it out. And I'm going to glue my other bees here and there. Voila! We have our bee in the beehive. Bzzz. Have fun drawing more bees, adding more details. You might want to add in eggs. Maybe the queen has laid eggs in each one. I decided I also want to make a door that opens, revealing a bee inside that just hatched. So I have my scrap paper. I'm going to go ahead and once again trace with yellow. Oh, I do not like that. I do not like that, Sam. I am. Trace it with yellow, but I also need a little strip here. So when I cut it out, I can draw it here. You can just cut it later. But let's color. Okay, then you cut out. Whoops. Oop, don't want to mess up. You know, and I just realized something. In between in between each of these, it's white. So I'm actually going to cut it like this. And then extend that. See what I did? See what I did? Forget about that yellow right there. And then next I'm going to attach it so it opens up. Okay, I finished. I glued this on. Whoop, I glued the tab right there so I can open it. And there it is, a baby bee just ready to come out of the cell. And here's my buzzing bee that came in from outside, and it's doing its little dance to show the other bees where to get the honey. And I hope you enjoyed Art with Jeannie.